My grandmother put me in a very sort of like an elementary school called Luquetti. It was in Puerto Rico. And she put me in school there. So it was a music school. And I started with trumpet, you know. And my teacher said, hey, I think you should be a trombonist. I said, a trombonist? He says, no, I like the trumpet, you know. And I continued to play trumpet. A little bit practicing at home. I had a Selmer, you know, and that was sort of my initial, but when I went home, I sort of lost interest in the trumpet because I heard a guy playing congas, you know, down the block, and I said, oh man, that sounds great. Look at the way the movement, right? And then I heard him once, and I said, man, I wonder what do I do with this trumpet? And that was at the time when Kennedy was killed. It was in those years, right, in the 60s. And so I got a trumpet. My grandmother sees that I'm losing interest. And then all of a sudden I hear Cal Tjader on a radio show. I said, oh man, what's that? And it freaked me out, you know, because I heard Cal Tjader. I didn't know what that was, but it was sensational. Then right after that, I heard Mongo Santa Maria, and I said, oh my. And as a child, I think I was 13 or something like that, I went to see Mongo. My grandmother gave me some money to go see Mongo. He was playing around the block in Puerto Rico. And I saw the band, and that blew me away, you know. So I heard my neighbor, and I said, hey, can you teach me how to do that? And he said, no. Very chauvinistic, you know, in those days. And I said, oh man. I said, you don't want to give me the, no. So my grandmother got a used drum, and I practiced on that. I don't know what I was doing, but I was practicing. And to make a long story short, I kept on practicing for a year on my own, trying to figure it out, you know. And then, all of a sudden, we decide, me and my friends, to get on a Volkswagen and go to every hotel and try to get a gig, you know. We would go to the lobby and talk to the manager and say, hey, do you need a band? In those days, now you can't do that anymore. And they said, no, we're not interested. And we'd go from hotel to hotel until one hotel said, oh, let me see what you got, you know, and would put us in the lobby and started playing. And he goes, oh, not bad. He says, you're gonna play here once a week. I said, oh, we got a gig. So that's how my initial, it was a hotel. And we did that for about a year. And that sort of made us, you know, it was like practicing. So we got better and better as time went by. And we went and played all different types of hotels. And that was really my initial beginning. And I wasn't really playing that much, I was singing. I was a vocalist. So it was a trio with a vocalist. And we did it for over 5, 6, 7 years. I didn't really start playing congas till I was about 18. That was about my initial comeback to the drum and practicing properly and actually playing other instruments, clave and all that stuff. And I learned how to play those instruments, and that's how I started. And I did TV, I did WAPA television. I did that for many years as a singer. I sang with the big band there, Lito Peña, and I became the big band singer, you know. And I played with Papo Lucas and all those famous musicians. And so, a vocalist. But the first gig that I got outside was a horrible band. It's one of the worst bands I ever played in. And they had a gig in Scarsdale, New York for 3 months. It was a contract. And we were supposed to play cover tunes in a place called the Piedmont Inn. So I said, this is my free ticket out. I'm taking it, you know. And we played there for 3 months. They decided to go back to Puerto Rico, and I never went back. I stayed in New York.